I now call the March 17th, 2026 Finance Committee meeting to order at 6:47 PM. Consideration of claims. Chair would entertain a motion for consideration of claims.
Your Honor, motion for consideration of claims to be paid in the amount of $713,652.53. Elon credit card in the amount of $7,100.64. Payroll and liabilities for 3/6/2026 in the amount of $247,225.02 for a total of $967,978.19.
Second?
Have a motion by Councilwoman Johnson and a second by Councilwoman Brothers for consideration of claims to be approved in the amount of $713,652.53. Elon credit card in the amount of $7,100.64. Payroll and liabilities for March 6, 2026 in the amount of $247,225.02 for a total of $967,978.19. Is there any discussion, questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Is there anything additional to come before the committee this evening, Director Harris?
Mr. Chair, no, I have nothing else to add tonight. Thank you.
Perfect. Without objection, we'll adjourn at 6:49 PM.
I now call the March 17th, 2026 regular meeting of the Riverton City Council to order at 7 p.m. I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, after which Councilmember Larson has agreed to give us an invocation. If everyone could please rise and remove cover. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our eternal Heavenly Father, we are thankful for the opportunity to meet as City Council in Riverton, Wyoming. Father, we're thankful for the moisture which Thou hast blessed us with. Although it was short, we still enjoyed it. Father, we would ask that Thou would watch over and bless this meeting, that we might be in tune with Thee and be able to proceed with proper decorum. We would also ask at this time that our first responders, our police department, and our men in the service be watched over and protected. We are thankful for the opportunity to serve for the city of Riverton, and we ask this humbly in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Thank you. Ms. Harris, if you could please conduct the roll call.
Yes, Your Honor. Councilmember Eric Carr.
Here.
Councilmember Rebecca Brothers.
Here.
Councilmember Mike Bailey.
Here.
Councilmember Carla Borders.
Here.
Councilmember Kyle Larson.
Here.
Councilmember Karen Johnson.
Here.
Mayor Tim Hancock.
I am here. I declare we have a quorum. I'd entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Larson with the motion. Second from Councilwoman Borders. Any discussion, amendments, additions, corrections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. I vote aye. Motion passes. Council committee reports and council members roundtable. Let's go ahead and start with Councilwoman Borders. What do you have going on?
Well, Your Honor, I don't have a lot to report. I did attend the semi-quincentennial meeting last week, and then last night we had a parade meeting. So just want to remind people to mark their calendars for July 4th. We want to make this a big shindig, for lack of a better word. So it's a great time to celebrate our country, and we just hope to see a lot of participation. Also, this coming Saturday, the 21st, PAWS is having a fundraiser. It's the pub crawl. So you can register at the Heritage Hall, I believe, at noon, and the tour of the town starts at 1. WRTA Safe Ride will be providing rides, and there's a lot of entertainment. They're giving away prizes, and it's a great fundraiser for our local animal shelter. So that's all I've got.
And so that's in the afternoon, right?
It is.
I just know that the ball gowns and badges is that evening, right?
That's the 28th.
Okay, so not this upcoming Saturday, the next Saturday. All right, I had that in my brain wrong. Great. All right, anything else?
I think that's it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Bailey.
Thank you, Your Honor. I did not have any official meetings since we've met last. The Recreation Center meeting got canceled and has been moved to April 13th at 5:30 because we're talking to the architects regarding the plans that they had presented in the study that we had done. And then this coming Friday is the airport board meeting is going to be up at the airport in the old cafe space at 8 o'clock. And other than that, I had no official meetings. Last Friday, I did have an addition to our family. My first grandchild was born. Raylan Kimberly Smith was born on Friday the 13th. And so my first grandchild, or great-grandchild.
I was going to say, that
Pretty awesome.
in Rotary, you said it was a great-grandchild, so
Well, they're all great, but this is me a great-grandpa.
Yay, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ray Lynn, huh?
Yeah.
I grew up with a Ray Lynn. That's a good name. All right, Councilwoman Brothers.
Excellent, thank you. We had the first goal-setting meeting for the Riverton Youth Council, which Mr. Gary was our point person on that, and he did a wonderful job. The kids had amazing ideas. This was on March 11th. The highlights, I think, were that they wanted more social media presence. They want to target more community service. And they really want to be the hub and the leaders of that community service. They want it to be the place where people around the community, kids around the community go to find the information for what's going on. I love that. I think it was really great. I was so impressed with how this went. It went really well, and I'm just really happy about it. Also, speech and debate team took first for the 9th year in a row. I was particularly impressed with Mr. Royce Hancock taking first in Congress. This was the 3rd year in a row that Riverton took first in state in congressional debate. There's 80 kids that compete in this. And I'm going to tell you, I've been in like the Wyoming circuit probably for around 14 or 15 years. And this one city has not taken first 3 years in a row in Congress. Like, we're the winners. So anyway, that's just good job, guys. And very impressed with Riverton as a whole. I also want to take a moment to share something personally with the council and the community. My family and I have loved living, working in Riverton. I've had the incredible honor to serve this community as a teacher and debate coach and a member of this council. The relationships that I've built with students, families, and residents here have meant a great deal to me. But I have accepted a position in Phoenix, Arizona, and will be moving later this summer. I want the community to know that I will remain fully committed to serving the people of Riverton until my responsibilities on the council end at that time. Serving this city has truly been one of the greatest privileges and joys in my life. Riverton will always hold a special place in my heart, and I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity I've had to work with you guys and everybody in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You will be missed, but we still have some time yet. You're going to go there in the summer. That's not the best time to go to Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, lots of AC and swimming.
Well, I guess keep us posted as we get closer, and we'll figure out where things go, but look forward to you continuing to serve.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Councilman Carr?
Thank you, Your Honor. We had a planning commission on March 5th. Home occupations were discussed and then a replat. Then I also attended a presentation by the Wyoming Business Council on the 6th of March. It was presented by Patrick Edwards, and if you don't know Patrick, he is an absolute fantastic individual, very charismatic and very engaged in specifically economic development for the community. And if you want to know anything about how wonderful the Wyoming Business Council is, please reach out to him and talk to him or any representative from the Wyoming Business Council, because they do a fantastic, much-needed job for the state of Wyoming, full stop. And then we do have a planning commission meeting this Thursday, March 19th. We'll be going over a couple of home occupations and then have an update from the director on the Eastern Shoshone Business Park filing 3 Lot 1. So that's all I have.
Thank you. And had you been at the Rotary meeting today, you would have known that you could have won $40.
Oh.
But you weren't there,
Wasn't.
so you lost your chance.
Is 40 enough to keep you to stay?
Maybe for a day.
Maybe for a day. No.
Councilwoman Johnson.
I have nothing to report this week. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Larson.
Holy cow. I attended the solid waste committee meeting over in Lander yesterday at 9:30. And the biggest thing they were planning on was grants for picking up garbage. And they were going to add it to their coming July budget. And I said, well, that's really great for July, but right now is garbage season because Mr. Bailey and his wife are going to be picking up garbage in Riverton and wanting a home for it. We ought to be thinking about that. I said, you should be thinking about it. And so if there are people interested in putting in for grants or cleanup, they need to contact the solid waste department and request a grant. So what are we talking about? Well, there was a place in Ethity that picked up 504 tons of garbage.
What?
504 tons. And $80 a ton, you figure that out. They're for it, they're planning on it, and they want it. But if you're thinking about it, apply and get in line. Because we take no favorites.
So we did, what, 15,000 pounds last year, Eric? Can't remember, something in that.
Yeah, it was
It
right at
was at least.
15,000.
So that's 7.5 tons.
Well, 7.5.
We'll work on getting to 5.
That's close to $1,000
A
worth.
few more trailer loads, yeah.
And, all the tires that we accumulate in 1 year go in 3 days with the tire shredder that they have. So it's not an economical idea to buy a tire shredder and shred tires for Fremont County. Anyway, that's all I have, Your Honor.
It'd be fun, though.
It'd be fun to
it would
watch.
be.
All right, thank you, Councilman Larson. Everybody, thank you for your reports. Mr. Butterfield, tell us what we got going on from the city staff.
Thank you, Your Honor. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. I mentioned to a few of you that my children woke up very disappointed that their traps did not catch the leprechaun last night.
Oh, my goodness.
Next year, hopefully they have better luck and better traps. A few of the meetings have already been mentioned, so I won't repeat those, but I did want to say Planning Commission is this Thursday at 5:30. I couldn't remember if that was brought forward. And we always invite the public to attend those meetings, whether it be Airport Board, Fix Our Road Citizen Committee, Planning Commission, and the many other community and community member committees that we do have, and appreciate the service that we receive for those. Ms. Harris and her team have advertised for the community service contract program, and applications will be received through the end of this month, and there will be an agenda item to discuss a little bit further about that program. But we encourage any community entity who feels that they can provide a service that's valuable to Riverton to submit and give the council the opportunity to consider their application. Since our last meeting, there have been several opportunities for the FCAG Joint Committee on Funding Key Services to present to several other governing bodies. So much so that the threshold has been met statutorily for a ballot question to come forward during the primary election this upcoming August for the people of Fremont County to choose whether or not to move forward an optional economic development tax to support ground ambulance transportation and public ground transportation and commercial air service. The Fremont County Commission approved a resolution of support, as I reported last meeting, but we also have received resolutions of support from Lander and Hudson. I had opportunity also to meet with the Northern Arapahoe Business Council on Friday, and they plan to submit a resolution of support as well. And I like what was said last meeting, that this is an opportunity for the people to truly decide what they feel is best for them. And this will just simply give them that opportunity to do so. Mr. Toman provided me a few updates that I think are important for the council and the community to hear. Riverview Road is moving forward, but it should be noted that the roadway from Major Avenue to Ryan Road is proposed to remain closed to through traffic while the sewer main line is being installed, and approximately 200 feet of main line, and is in addition to that with 2 manholes. I appreciate the work of Mr. Toman and his department to coordinate with schools and businesses in the area. We know that it's an inconvenience, but we appreciate people's patience as we work to improve a significant corridor in our town. The kickoff meeting was held for the wastewater treatment plant clarifier and ultraviolet room upgrade project. This was done on Monday. Soon a crane will be on site to remove the dome of the clarifier. And this is a project that represents $2.6 million worth of upgrades. And credit again to our Public Works Department for receiving grants from WCDA to cover a significant portion of these improvements. And lastly, from the Public Works Department, beginning April 6th, yard waste will be collected. Staff has been working to coordinate deliveries to the yard waste facility as needed, especially in light of the recent high winds that have caused trees and other items to need to be logged out and taken somewhere. To that end, we appreciate the work of the police department, our dispatch team, Public Works Department, and all the city employees that have provided support to our community as they've experienced the impact of these high winds. I had opportunity to speak with our lead dispatcher, Sarah Nelson, the other night, and she confirmed that last Wednesday, when the winds were so high, last Thursday, was a very busy day for her dispatch center, and we appreciate their service and their dedication. I'm happy to report that from the physical test that we reported on last meeting and the subsequent interviews for patrol officers resulted in 2 candidates being put forward to backgrounds. We'll continue the process of vetting these applicants, but hope to be able to have them join our team if they are the right fit for our community. And Mr. Mayor, if it's possible, I'd like to yield the floor to Mr. Hurtado. His team has been working on a few more grants, and pursuant to our policy, we need to make sure that we bring them to you for opportunity to consider. He's been working on the details of those and would be in a better position to provide that information. So, Mr. Hurtado, if you could do that now.
Thank you, Chief. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Besides helping out with everyday duties, our lieutenant's been busy trying to get more grants for the city. As of note, there was a NRA Foundation grant program, a mini grant that was available last fall. Lieutenant Wharton had submitted paperwork seeking any assistance for our department. We just got notification that NRA is going to provide us with approximately 2,200 rounds of duty ammo. They'll basically ship it to us for us to use for duty or practice. Includes rifle ammo, shotgun ammo, and handgun. Total of just over 2,200 rounds, and the value of that is just under $1,400. The second opportunity for us, there is funds left over from the Wyoming Office of Homeland Security. This is a pass-through grant from the federal government to Wyoming in the 2022-23 fiscal. There was actually some money of funds left over. So we got word if anybody had some small needs for this program to quickly put it in writing the next couple weeks. By the time Lieutenant Wood, he's working on the narrative now, it would surpass the March 31st deadline for us to put it in. So I just want to recognize Lieutenant for putting in are trying to put in for this grant. We're trying to get ballistic helmets. I think there's some about 20 years old in the back. We'd like to replace. Also our rifle lights for the long guns and some other practice tools for the patrol officers. We're seeking approximately $20,000. We're fine-tuning the exact amount as we get quotes, but this is going to be a pretty small window of opportunity. We just wanted to bring this opportunity forward to you, and once we get the application completed, we'll provide a copy to you.
Do we have any objections from anyone on the council for either of those grants? Do you need a resolution in support?
I think just consensus for right now is fine.
Okay.
Then we'll provide, I don't think, no, I don't think we're going to need a resolution for the Homeland Security one.
Okay. Well, I think it seems to me, as I'm looking around the table, everybody's in support, so you have it.
Thank you.
Anything else?
We had the third day of winter this year.
Yep. All 3 days. All right. A couple of things, I guess, that I've been involved in. I was able to attend the 1838 Rendezvous Society meeting last week. That was unique. Good opportunity. I guess would encourage folks to be attending the 1838 Rendezvous. Some of what I think gets confused about that is people think, oh, if I'm going to go, I have to be dressed in period clothing. You do not have to be dressed in period clothing if you want to go to the 1838 Rendezvous. It is one of the only rendezvous celebrations or recognitions that we have that actually occurs on the original site, which is unique around the country. I actually have people that I know that came here and moved to Riverton specifically for the 1838 Rendezvous, which surprised me, but I thought it was great. They love Rendezvous.
It's so great.
Wanted to be a part of it. So this year it will be held June 24th through 28th. Would encourage folks, you know, even though it is the 1838 Rendezvous, they do have a webpage. It's not just all posted on trees or whatever. It's pretty easy to find. It's 1838rendezvous.com. So if you go to that, we'll give you the information about it. I think will be a lot of fun, good opportunity to know kind of why Riverton is here and some of the things going on in the history of Riverton. So good opportunity to attend that meeting. Also had the opportunity to discuss a little bit with Shireen, the Adventure Queen from County 10. She is doing a podcast that is highlighting some of the tourist attractions in Fremont County, things going on here. And so it was a good opportunity to visit with her. She just barely had her wedding, and so congratulations. But it was a good opportunity to do that. Also, was going to highlight what the, Mr. Butterfield already said. The resolution that we passed last time has pretty quickly gone through Hudson and Lander. Riverton have all had resolutions in support of it, as well as the county. So that should, as I understand it, be on the ballot for the primary ballot. So looking forward to that. I guess stay tuned to find out more about that, and we're going to have to discuss, you know, what that would look like in terms of an MOA. One of the things we've been discussing in FCAG is we set up this Joint Committee on Funding Key Services, or JCFKS as it is known, not an acronym I use a lot. But the Joint Committee on Funding Key Services, it's been an incredible success in terms of what they've been able to discuss and figure out and things they've been able to do. And I would note their focus has been on the funding. And so at our next FCAG meeting, For those in the audience, FCAG is the Fremont County Association of Governments. It's all the mayors and a commissioner from Fremont County. It's a joint committee talking about what's going on in Fremont County and trying to figure out ways we can collaborate. But anyway, probably our next discussion will be what, not just funding, but what can ambulance service look like going forward if the tax is passed? So that would be getting into some of the details there. Also, I think the Joint Committee on Funding Key Services is also going to report, give a proposed MOA just in terms of where we could go next with that, but then probably we'll set up a new committee to talk about what is this going to look like going forward, because we could just keep it where county is handling ambulance and that sort of thing, or we could talk about something different. We'll see. And then, of course, we have the Fremont County Law Enforcement Fund dinner that's going to be coming up, not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
28.
So looking forward to attending that, and hopefully we'll be able to get over there for that. That's it for me, though. Next up, we have citizens' comments. Anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council on an item that is already set for public comment, you will get the opportunity to do so when that agenda item comes up. If it's not something that's set for public comment, just get my attention when the agenda item is called, and usually we'll recognize you and allow you an opportunity to speak at that time as well. But in either event, I'd ask you to keep your comments to 5 minutes if you are an individual, 10 minutes if you're a part of a group, just kind of split it up with the people that are in your group. If it is that you come up during an agenda item and would like to speak then, please keep it addressed to that agenda item and don't go off topic. If it's not regarding an agenda item, this would probably be the best time to come up and speak. I'd ask you to come up to the microphone, speak clearly into the mic. Everything's being recorded. You can see the cameras. We're also broadcasting, both television and on the internet. And so we'd ask you to tell us your name, organization that you're with, direct all questions and comments to me as the chair, and refrain from personal criticism, name calling, ridicule, fighting words, obscene language, that sort of thing. But that's the time to come up. So if anyone wants to come up and speak, come up now.
Mayor, thank you for having me. My name is Reed Raisner. I'm from Casper, Wyoming. I'm running for U.S. Congress, and I wanted to just take a minute to introduce myself, but first I need to say congratulations to Councilman Bailey for becoming a grandfather, Councilwoman Brothers for your new journey, and Councilman Carr, I agree with you on the Wyoming Business Council, so thank you for that, and a special thank you to Mia Harris. I appreciate all of you, so thank you for that. I just wanted to share running for U.S. Congress, I've got to come across Fremont County and speak with mayors and councilmen, and last but not least, I'm here to talk with all of you, and I hope I can have a cup of coffee with you soon. The common theme around Wyoming, and it's not just Fremont County, is infrastructure, public safety, and public awareness. And every county across Wyoming that I visited has very similar issues, so I'm hoping I can just take 3 minutes of your time just to talk about this. In Wyoming, infrastructure, it's not a luxury, it's a survival. It's our roads, our water systems, our power, our connectivity. It's what keeps communities alive and our economy moving. And for too long, rural communities, just like Riverton, have been expected to do more with less. Aging roads, strained water systems, limited investment. Meanwhile, billions of dollars leave our state every year, and it's just unacceptable. In Congress, I will fight to bring Wyoming money back to Wyoming, not through wasteful programs, but through targeted investments in rural infrastructure that actually work with mandatory pass-through clauses so that Riverton and Fremont County are included in these. Roads are maintained, water systems are modernized, and broadband that reaches every community so we can stay connected. Because if we don't invest in our infrastructure, we're not investing in our future. Secondly, public safety. And this isn't just a talking point. I've been advocating for EMS as an essential service for quite a while. This is about our police officers, our deputies, and obviously our EMS crews, the people who show up when everything goes wrong and work endless hours while we sleep. In many communities across Wyoming, including here, these departments are stretched thin, understaffed, underfunded, in many cases relying on volunteers to do work that they just can't keep up with. Again, I find this unacceptable, and it seems like such an easy problem to overcome. And we cannot expect our first responders to carry the weight of an entire community without giving them the support they need. And in Congress, I hope to prioritize funding that goes directly to our local law enforcement and EMS, not filtered through layers of bureaucracy, not delayed, but direct support. And we need better equipment, better staffing, better retention, and better communications. And we need to have these men and women trained and given the respect that they earn in our communities, because public safety is a foundation for every strong community. And third, public awareness. This one gets overlooked, but it's critical. People need to know what's happening in their communities. They need transparency. They need access. They need the trust in the institutions that serve them. And too often, there's a disconnect between the government and the people. Information isn't clear, communication is not consistent, and that creates confusion, frustration, and distrust. And I know we can do better. We need stronger communication between local government and the public, DC and our local governments. Clear updates, real transparency, and a commitment to make sure people understand why their decisions are being made. Because an informed community is a strong community. Everything I'm talking about tonight comes down to two simple principles: Wyoming first and foremost, and sending billions of dollars back to Washington. We need leadership to bring those billions of dollars back to our state and especially to our counties and local governments. I'm not a career politician, I'm just a businessman. I solve problems, I build and I execute daily on my businesses. And I hope to bring that mindset to Congress, because Riverton matters, Fremont County matters, and Wyoming matters. And I do truly want to fight every single day to make sure a stronger, safer community that our kids can live in and afford a home in and stay here, because we have very high attrition rates and we educate them and we spend a lot of money educating them. But making sure that they can stay in Fremont County or Natrona County or whatever, Teton County, and be able to afford to stay there is very important to me. And we do that through really strong businesses and really strong community. And I just want to invite all of you to coffee sometime to talk about this individually or together if you'd like. And I come through Fremont County often, crossroads of Wyoming. I'm always coming through here. So I can email you or you can get my information. I'm very available. But I'd love to meet with you if you'd like. So thank you all. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and God bless all of you. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here and taking the time to stop by. Did we have members of the Youth Council who were planning on speaking? Did I run over you?
I think they wanted to speak during the action item. Would that make sense, or do you want them to speak now, Your Honor?
Either way. We can wait.
Probably on the item.
I told
Okay.
them.
Just curious if they wanted to do a report, so, okay. Sounds good. Anyone else? All right. Ms. Harris, could you please read our consent agenda items?
Yes, Your Honor. Minutes of the March 3rd, 2026 regular council meeting. Minutes of the March 17th, 2026 Finance Committee meeting. Finance Committee recommendations from March 17th, 2026. And municipal court report for the month of February 2026.
Thank you. Items requiring further discussion there?
Thank you, Your Honor. The Finance Committee met at 6:47 PM tonight and recommended consideration of claims to be paid in the amount of $713,652.53. Elon credit card bills in the amount of $7,100.64, and payroll and liabilities in the amount of $247,225.02 for a grand total of $967,978.19.
All right, thank you. I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Brothers with the motion, Councilwoman Johnson with the second. Any discussion?
Your Honor, I will abstain from the Bailey Enterprises line item on the Finance Committee report.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. I vote aye. Motion passes. By the way, if we ever need to pull anything off of consent, it wouldn't even require a discussion. It would just require saying, I want to pull that from consent, and we'll just consider it as its own item. I'm just saying that procedurally, not that there's anything that we need to pull from consent, but it's just easy enough to do. All right. Community Service Contracts Committee appointments. Mr. Butterfield.
Thank you, Your Honor. The City Council has historically reserved a portion of its general fund budget to support local programs and organizations in the community. This is through the Community Service Contract Program. In allocating these funds, the council has prioritized organizations that provide services that might otherwise need to be provided by the city in their absence. In the current fiscal year, $240,000 were distributed among 8 community service organizations, and we appreciate what they have done this fiscal year. Awarding community service contract funds is at the sole discretion of the City Council. In recent years, the City Council, after receiving applications for funds, listened to presentations on from the applications for use of those funds, and then individually ranked the allocation of funds. After the ranking sheets were compiled by staff, they were then presented, and the council was able to discuss them together in a public forum. For fiscal year 27, Mayor Hancock is proposing a modification to this process. Specifically, he is proposing to establish an ad hoc committee consisting of 3 council members to review submitted applications and develop a recommendation for funding. Final authority, it should be noted, for approving or allocating any community service contract funds remains with the governing body. This ad hoc committee would simply help to provide a recommendation to the entire body. By establishing this committee, there is no budget impact. However, it should be noted that as part of the fiscal year 27 budget process, the City Council will determine the amount of general fund resources that will be allocated to this program. So the funding limit has not yet been established, but you will have that opportunity to do so as part of the budget. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. So I guess the first question is, do we want to modify the way we're doing this? I know this was a thought after we had TAD funding, where we had an ad hoc committee. And this is always a difficult meeting because we get presentations from everyone. Then we have to sit there and make a decision. And it just is, it uses so much time. Not that I'm saying that it's not time well spent. I mean, I think it's a very good consideration, but I think at least having something similar to what we did for the TAD funding, where we would have a committee that would consider it, have the presentations delivered to that committee, and we could even advertise that meeting or something. If other council members wanted to attend, we could do that.
Yeah, Your Honor, it'd be open to the public, is that, yeah.
Yes, and so, but that way, we're not using up as much time of a council meeting where we're having everyone there. And so that was my proposal. My thought would be that if we wanted to do this, that we would have the other 3 members of the council that didn't serve on the TAD committee. So in other words, it would be Councilman Carr, now wait a minute, Councilman Carr, Councilman Larson, and Councilwoman Brothers. Yes, I had to go around the table and realize who was on TAD. So that was my proposal, and just wanted to know thoughts from the council. If you like it, then I guess we'd just have a vote that would say that's how we're going to do it. So we'd consider a motion if that's something that the council wants to do, but that was the thought process.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I would rather have Mike on it than myself.
Okay,
Oh, come on.
that's fine. If Councilman Bailey wants to serve, that's not a problem. My suggestion was more so because we had the 3 on the TAD committee, and I thought it would be good to have opportunity for some,
I think it's a great idea, really. I mean, there's a lot of weeding to go through, and it's important to do it right.
well, the other thought was too, and I don't know how else to put this, but if you want to think of it this way, currently what it is it's like a grant, but we don't have clear guidelines for it. And I would think that that would actually be something that the committee and the members of the committee could look at and come forward with a proposal too. What are the guidelines we want to have for this? Because as it is now, all we've said is, if you're going to be providing a service to the city, and part of the idea has been, this is a service that the city would provide, but can't, kind of like pause. So, any other discussion on it, or?
You need a motion?
I do, but
I was just going to say, I think the TAG committee, ad hoc committee, it worked well. It was nice to be able to discuss frankly and kind of discuss how and the whys and wheres and all of that stuff. My only question would be how that's going to affect the budgeting process, not knowing how much is actually allocated to the program itself, because it's hard, I mean,
I think the total would still say the same.
we could change it if we like, and that's one of the things that's interesting about this, and we've discussed it actually every year too. Part of where this program had come from was that it was funds that were being received from the state through the direct distribution. Well, now direct distribution is more of a permanent thing because they changed the way that sales tax is distributed to the communities. That being said, it is something that we can continue, but we could start with the very first question for the committee would be, how much do you think it should be? Because it's a lot easier to move around, kind of like TAD did, right? With the TAD committee, it was like, this is our max, and we know that. It's a lot easier to move around if you know what your maximum is. What we've done in years past is we've just had a meeting kind of prior to, like the meeting before we started talking about contracts for services, and had some consensus about what we wanted the maximum to be. But then even after hearing the proposals, we still discussed, do we want to move the goalpost? And we didn't, which was fine, but that's, frankly, it's an option. Or we could make it even less. So I think having a committee be able to consider that would be a good idea. But you're right. Now, for purposes of budgeting, we can at least put in there a soft amount that's going to be the same maximum as last year, and then work with it however we need to, which city staff has always been willing to do that. But
does this take away the applicant's ability to come in and still present? Because I appreciate that, quite honestly. It gives you a different view from what you're actually reading on paper versus directly from them.
yes, and so the thought would be that they would be presenting to the ad hoc committee, not to the full council. They could still be there present at the meeting, but so if you think about it, what we've done in years past is we've had a work session where we sat there and had them present, and then we went to the regular meeting at a later date, and that was when we actually considered it. If I remember correctly, that's what we've done in the past.
And Your
So-
Honor, what makes this great, I mean, I like the idea of the fact that it's consistent with the TAD. If we're going to do that for TAD, maybe we should keep it consistent for the community service contracts. And the other members can be there, right? I mean, that makes them, and the community can still come and, you know.
It was just a thought because I saw how well TAD worked, and I saw how long this would go and how much time was spent on it, when really, our complete budget, we would spend so much more time on that compared for the dollar for dollar, how much time we spent discussing these contracts for services versus the time we spent on the rest of the budget, it doesn't even compare. And so I was like, having an ad hoc committee might make sense.
Your Honor, I like the idea. I think TAD funding is very different from community service contract funding, because that comes directly from the city and TAD funding does not. And so I like the way that we were previously doing it, if I'm speaking honestly.
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to present this as a possibility and see what the council's thought was. So if there's people who want to do it, we'd need a motion, we'd vote on it and
But-
decide from there.
Your Honor, the full council still approves the funding. It's not like the full council still doesn't get the full vote. It's just that the 3 members would do the back-end work on it.
That's the proposal, at least, yes.
Your Honor, I see your reasoning, but at the same time, the council as a whole is asked to vote on this, and I think it's important that we see the presentations as a whole, because I don't really want to vote on something that I'm not very well aware of what the request was, why, all the little nuts and bolts of it. So that's kind of where I sit. I mean, if you want to do the ad hoc, I would still want to participate in the presentations, though.
Okay?
One way, Your Honor, sorry.
Sure.
One way that we could do this is the full council could still receive scoring sheets and application materials before making the final decision. We did do that for TAD previously last year, and that made a big difference. And we could, that could cut out some time. And then, you know, you could still have that ad hoc committee well, and I don't think it would make a big difference in time beforehand while still being true to this proposal.
I'm good with anything. I just want, I'm just here bringing it up.
Your Honor, the way we've done it in the past, and if we did have an ad hoc committee, we'd still have to advertise and do all the flaming hoops we have to jump through, because if one more member shows up, we have to advertise it anyway. And I think we all want to have the information of what all the different organizations would present. So I think we're really right back to what we did before, which is do a work session, get the presentations, send everybody a sheet, let them rate it. Next meeting, we, you know, or wherever it fits into the budget process, because part of what we'll have to decide is how much money we're going to spend. And so until we get to that point, we will all have had the presentations, we'll all be able to rate them on our own. And then when we get to the point where we know exactly what kind of dollars we have to deal with, and there's a lot of variables in there, that then we can make that decision. And so I think everybody's going to need to be involved relatively through that whole process, so.
Your Honor,
It's a good point.
the ad hoc committee would be great for establishing clear guidelines for us before we proceed.
Yes, that's another idea. It's a good point, because like I said, as it has been, it's just been no guidelines. So that could be something good. I like the idea of that.
You know, when are applications due for that? Or have they already been submitted?
Your Honor, applications are due March 31st.
Okay, so at the end of the month. So we'd need to have guidelines in place before March 31st.
Probably too late if we're going to publish the guidelines, because
Yeah.
they already would be presenting them.
It's pretty tight.
Yeah. But I guess at minimum, we could set some kind of criteria we could use to judge them by.
So that we're being fair, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Just saying that we're agreeing or disagreeing because we came up with these to follow. I think that's fair.
Okay. Well, I don't have anyone that's made a motion for anything, so are we just?
Your Honor, I move to create an ad hoc committee to establish clear guidelines for awarding community service contracts.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion by Councilwoman Johnson, second by Councilwoman Borders. Ad hoc committee, who do you want to have serving on that?
You're the mayor, sir. You can decide that.
Okay, so the purpose of the ad hoc committee would be to be setting guidelines, criteria for the contracts for services. Is that right?
Yes.
All right, we have a motion by Councilwoman Johnson, second by Councilwoman Borders. Any other discussion there? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. I vote aye. My proposal then would be to have Councilman Bailey, Councilman Carr, and Councilwoman Brothers serve on that. Anyone object to that? We have a motion in that regard.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilwoman Brothers. Any other discussion? Anybody else that wants to volunteer?
I will be out of town next week, but I should be back after that, so.
That's not a good reason.
It's not like phones don't exist or anything.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, motion passes. All right. Look forward to your report. Next, I guess we'll have that at their next meeting in April. Okay? And then when would we have that set for a work session and everything usually?
Your Honor, that would be the second Tuesday in April.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll get a report from the committee, the first meeting in April, and then we'll discuss it for what we're going to be doing the next week. That's good to, I'll just remember that this committee is right here.
All to your right.
Oh, hey, yeah.
Easy to remember. It's the right wing committee.
I take offense to that.
I know.
Yeah, me.
I would too if I were sitting where you were. Yep.
Left.
Okay. Up next, West Sunset Drive and North College View Drive, school zone designation. Mr. Toman?
Thank you, Your Honor. In front of you tonight is a recommendation to declare a speed limit of 20 miles an hour for the purpose of establishing a school zone. It's from the Major Avenue intersection on Sunset Drive to approximately the entrance of Sage West Hospital. And then also to consider a school zone designation along College View Drive from the alley near the school zone property to Sunset Drive intersection. Riverton Municipal Code 10.12.070 subset C specifically gives the council the ability to declare this zone designation, but I will just rehearse subsection A and B as well. Subsection A is that no person driving a motor vehicle within the city at a greater speed than that is reasonable and prudent under the conditions and having regard to the actual and potential hazards then existing. Subsection B says no person shall drive a motor vehicle in the city at a speed in excess of 30 miles an hour, except when special hazards exist that require a lower speed for compliance with subsection A. And at subsection C, which gives the council the authority to establish its speed zone, it says whenever a mayor and the council of the city shall determine on the basis of an engineering traffic investigation that the maximum speed permitted or established in subsection B of this section is greater or less than what is reasonable and safe under the conditions found to exist upon a street or part of a street within the city, the mayor and the council may declare a reasonable, safe maximum limit therewith, which shall be effective when appropriate signs giving notice thereof are erected. So the engineer and traffic investigation has been completed. I've worked to coordinate with the police department, and then also as well, what brought this about was parents of students in the area, and then also members of the youth council looking to provide a safe area around the school to bring about a lower speed limit so that there's increased awareness of the actual traffic and then pedestrians in that area. I will note specifically, one parent had gone to me multiple times very, in a very good manner, pointing out the need for the crosswalk near Petersdorf Avenue, excuse me, is not lit. But we can light that crosswalk, and that's not hard to do. City staff can take care of that and do that at a later date, but it still doesn't address the speed in that area as well. You'll note that in the traffic report, there was a reference to a safe kid study done in 2016. It also showed that if you reduce the speed limit by just 10 mile an hour, it reduces, God forbid, fatalities from 45% to 5%. So while, you know, we don't want, the engineer and traffic study showed that, I mean, the goal is to limit conflicts between vehicles and pedestrians. Lowering the speed limit will do that. And then the crosswalk can be addressed at a later date. So in front of the council today, or tonight, excuse me, is the recommendation to lower the speed limit on Sunset Drive and also on College View Drive as well. So I think some members of the Youth Council wanted to speak a little bit on that as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, if we have some members of the Youth Council who want to add to that report, please come on up and identify yourselves and tell us what's going on. But you're going to have to come up to the microphone.
You're so funny. Hello, everyone. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We're all really excited to be here today off of our normal schedule. It's probably a little weird seeing us right now.
And who are you?
Oh, I am Capri Miller. I'm a member of the Riverton Youth Council. So the other week, Mr. Toman came to our meeting and he was talking to us about the potential to make this area a school zone. And all of the RYC members were very eager to affirm this. I'm sure we've all heard the statistics about how dangerous teen drivers are, and I'm sure my left-hand turns are contributing to them. But as youth, we see this constantly on a first-hand basis. A lot of middle schoolers and high schoolers cross the street right there, and a school zone would definitely make it so those kids and the surrounding property would all be safer.
So, Your Honor, if I may say, one of the very first, I think our very first meeting, whenever they were like, hey, what are some ideas? What are some things we should do? They're just spitballing some ideas, and this was their first idea. I think that that's really great whenever like our youth are like, hey, some safe areas around the schools. And the chief and the police have done a really good idea now that we're like fully staffed. Like, I've really noticed that they're doing a great job making sure people are going speed limit and everything around town, and I really appreciate that. But I love that the kids are also like joining in on this idea and seeing that. And I think that your grade specifically, and maybe the grade above you guys, 2 grades above you guys, have been impacted, unfortunately, by some deaths because of the school zones and around that area and everything. And it's been really sad. I know my son Sam's grade was one of them, actually. And so the fact that this is like an issue for you guys and become really important is really great. And that was like, I think one of the very first things that they brought up. So I love that Mr. Tolman has been making this such an important thing for him, and you guys are here supporting it, so thank you.
All right. Anybody else who wants to speak from the Riverton Youth Council? Who else is here from the Riverton Youth Council?
Mr. Chair, my name's Hunter Masters. I'm from the Youth Council. Personally, I believe that having a school zone designated there would help not only with students, but also the awareness of other drivers, because students tend to be a little crazy, and adding that 20 mile an hour might help with them. Another thing, I know that some students like to go to the coffee shop across the street from the high school in the mornings, and some tend to walk. And that will definitely help with the traffic there and actually being able to see those students walking across the street to go get their morning beverages.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Masters.
Hello, my name's Tierney. And then, yeah, so as council member, Councilwoman Brother said, this was kind of one of the first things that we brought up during one of our first meetings. And one of the other things that we kind of talked about is switching the school signs that we currently have around the other schools to have flashing lights instead of just the listed times, just to help with safety at like all different times, and also so that it's not always in play. And like one of the examples was during Halloween night, like you could turn it on and that way people can be like, oh, it's 20 miles an hour and there's kids walking around. But that was just one of our other ideas that we had while this whole project is underway.
Thank you, Tierney, with no last name.
Oh, my last name's Fabian.
It's okay. And understand that I'm saying this for people that are here. I know who you are. But because we have people who are watching this, just try to make sure they can identify you. So thank you, Ms. Fabian. Anyone else? Nothing from Mr. Thacker or Ms. Bauer? Okay, that's all right. That's okay. We know that too. Okay, well, thank you. And thank you for talking about this and figuring it out. If we have any questions for you, we'll come back to you. Anything? You're doing great work. Thank you for being willing to come up here and speak. That takes a lot of courage, right? There's adults that have a hard time with that. So, way to go. Mr. Toman, just a question here. So, I actually I grew up here, and as long as I've been here, I don't remember there ever being a school zone sign around the high school, right? So that's new. I like it. Is there any reason why it couldn't just, I mean, I see where the proposal is to have it end at the Sunset and College View intersection and then start just right beyond the hospital. Is there any reason not to just have that carry through? I mean, I know it does need to be around school grounds, which it is around school grounds all the way through, just for simplicity's sake, or what's the reason for that change, or for that modification, or?
Your Honor, that was put in the packet and shown in that location kind of as a conservative way to designate that school zone. When you have a school zone designation, it's the sign that actually designates the zone. So it's, we have in the proposal, signs will be provided by the school district. Then the city staff will post the signs. There is a 300-foot school zone ahead designation. Being that in that location where traffic would turn from that T right onto Sunset, we could probably squeeze that a little bit tighter and make that even longer through that area. So I think we can definitely accommodate that, yeah.
Well, and the only reason I was saying that is it would be very odd in theory, because most of the traffic there is either coming west on Sunset and taking a left on College View, or it's coming north on College View and taking a right on Sunset. Mm-hmm. There's some traffic that's there that's going to the hospital or going to some of the offices that are right there next to the hospital, the Owl Creek Apartments. That's also where, let's see, High Mountain Jerky is right there. Mm-hmm. But just the vast majority of the traffic would be doing that. And so would be almost odd to be having in mind, you can be 30 miles per hour in this section and then stop at the stop sign, or 30 miles per hour in this stop section, and before you can probably even get up to 30, unless you're in a pretty high-powered vehicle, you have to slow down to 20.
Yeah, Your Honor, absolutely. We can consider moving that a little bit farther to the west. The reasoning for designating after the entrance is that's about the 300-foot mark but it would be odd for somebody to turn the corner, speed up, and then slow down for the 20 mile an hour. So
I'm not
You
saying,
have 100 yards at 30 mile an hour, you can
I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying it's a challenge that some teenagers will take up because it would be legal theoretically, although could be exhibition of acceleration, maybe, Lieutenant?
Yes.
Yeah.
Your Honor. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. That was going to be one of my comments. I would argue that we could actually extend it all the way up to Rose Lane on College View, because most typically, you have hospital zones too, which are usually 20 miles an hour. So to make that T College View where it starts on the south end, all the way to Rose Lane, probably should be 20 anyway, and then Sunset all the way down. That would be my only suggestion, because it's a hospital zone.
We'd have to have a specific study for that to be moved,
Probably.
right?
Your Honor, I could bring back a recommendation there. If that is the council's desire for the hospital zone as well. I know the actual, just look at the code one more time to verify that. An engineering traffic investigation to establish speed limit. We can definitely make an appendix to the investigation, come back and with a further recommendation for that area to look at it.
That might be an
I think
idea.
it'd be a lot cleaner if we did,
Yeah.
you know, College View from where we said, you know, neat repeat all the way to the intersection. And from the intersection of College View and Sunset, all the way to the intersection of
Major.
Major and Sunset.
Yeah.
It's clean, that you don't have this 30, 20, 30 kind of thing going on.
Yep.
I think it makes a lot more sense.
So
And that
I'm,
was your motion?
I was gonna say I moved,
Yes.
I second.
Motion by Councilman Bailey, second by Councilwoman Brothers, to go from neat repeat as we have designated there, all the way up to West Sunset, and then from West Sunset, the corner of West Sunset and College View, all the way to Major.
Yeah.
Your Honor, if I could interrupt at this time, I feel like we should probably extend that down Major as well, past the middle school.
That's
Isn't it all
already 20.
I think it is already.
It's already 20 on.
It is already
Yeah.
20, okay.
And a source of revenue lately. Mainly from teachers. I'm not trying to
Well,
say
that's good.
anything,
They make all the money anyways.
Yeah.
but I am saying something, because I have had conversation with our traffic officers, and they have caught many teachers going through
Hilarious.
that area there at higher speeds than they should. So teachers and students, that is a school zone already. And I think it's all the way up to the corner of,
Park, I think.
well, it comes from just right about there
Or Pershing.
where the
Pershing would have
football
been.
field starts. So it's going to be school grounds, and then it goes all the way up until you get to the stop sign there on Sunset and Major. So,
Your Honor, I did have one more question related to the crosswalk. Where will that be located?
Your Honor, there is a current crosswalk there, but there's no lighted sign on it. So I think staff will work with the school district just to light the sign on the crosswalk.
So is this at Major and Sunset?
No, there's 3 crosswalks in the area. There's one at the intersection of Major and Sunset, one across from the high school which lit, and then one at Petersdorf, which is not lit. It's kind of a little bit hard to find there. Sketchy.
I was just thinking that it might be nice to have something there by the coffee hut.
Yeah, like College View and Sunset maybe?
Yes.
or-
that's
Yeah.
a pretty common area for people to be crossing, and not just for the coffee hut, but between
'Cause there's a walk
going from the
path that
high
goes up there
school
too, yeah.
to CWC. So, and so we already have a lighted crosswalk there that you could push the button, it'll turn on the lights, people have to stop right in front of JC Park. And then we're talking about doing something like that at Petersdorf, is that about right?
Correct, Your Honor, yep.
And then, I don't think we have a crosswalk going across.
College View, Sunset.
There's
Be
one on
something to consider,
north side of the intersection, but not on the school side.
right?
It's on the hospital side.
Okay, but for right now, the motion is to have that going as an L, I guess?
That works. That's perfect. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on that? Good questions, good clarification.
Your Honor, just, I'm sure this has been looked at. I just want to make sure that we've done our due diligence as it relates to the ambulance barn being up there and emergency services. This isn't going to have any kind of ill effect on that.
Mr. Tolman?
Your Honor, that was looked at as well. In emergency situation with lights on, they can travel the speed limit that they need to travel to that area. Obviously, they won't want to go too fast, but it just brings further awareness to the area by marking it as 20 mile an hour so that people can see. And I think the traffic report ended kind of that way. It'll bring just awareness to drivers, further awareness. So, no, there was no effect there.
Good question.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hey.
Any opposed, say nay. I vote aye. Motion passes. Nice job.
Hey.
And you did the traffic study too, right? You were the engineers for it? Good.
Your Honor, if I could, I just want to just say thank you to our youth council. They are amazing. I just want you to hear that.
Well done.
It's great to see you here at the meetings and hear your input, and it's valuable. So thank you.
Keep coming up with the good ideas. All right.
Your Honor, take a break.
Oh, yeah, we're at 8:15. We've got, how many?
Not much left, but
We've got some. Let's go ahead and, let's adjourn, or
Adjourn.
recess.
Aye.
Later.
Second.
I don't know why I keep
Second,
saying.
he says.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. No discussion. All in favor, say aye. Okay, all opposed, say nay. Nay. Okay, so we're not going to adjourn. We are going to recess, though. Let's recess until 8:25. It's 8:25, so we're back from our recess, not adjournment. That's 2 weeks in a row that I've done that, and I don't know why. Next item on the agenda is the Verizon ground lease expiration. I feel like we just talked about this not long ago, Mr. Butterfield. Can you tell us why this is on the agenda again?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. We did talk about it on February 3rd and February 17th. This is in relationship to the ground lease that's just off of Airport Road, where Verizon, since the late 90s, has had a tower located. The lease that they currently have is expiring at the end of this month. Staff and Verizon have been working through negotiations. At the last meeting, the council rejected the offer sheet and then unanimously passed a motion for staff to present terms again to Verizon that would be similar to the ground lease that's located off of Main Street Hill near the water reservoir. In working with Verizon, they have communicated throughout this process that they are not able to match the terms of the ground lease that's located off of Main Street Hill near the water reservoir. Part of that is because that lease is managed by American Tower, and American Tower receives additional revenues because of some sublease agreements that they have for pole attachments. With that said, Verizon did go back to the drawing board. They were clear that they will not meet the terms of the other site that I just referenced, but they did increase their offer from $8,680.55 annually to $10,474.93 annually. In your packet is still the table of informal information from polling some of our peer municipalities about their ground leases for towers. But I was also able to provide in your packet information from some private property owners in our area that lease ground to communication companies for towers. One of those private property owners communicated that they receive roughly $10,000 a year for their lease with a 3% annual escalator. That's for a tower that's located just to the west of the Sutherland's building. I spoke with another private property owner who actually has 2 tower leases, and they communicated that they receive roughly $1,000 a month or $12,000 a year for their leases. Another private property owner who has a ground lease in Lander communicated that they receive about $12,000 a year for their lease. So I think that informs you a little bit of what the market rate is. Staff went back and reminded Verizon that they had proposed $15,000 a year. That offer, in their opinion, is stale, and they will not honor it. And the current term that they are willing to meet with the city of Riverton is that $10,474.93. You as a council have every opportunity to accept that and continue the relationship with Verizon. You can reject it and allow the lease to expire on its own terms. If that happens, Verizon has 90 days to remove their equipment and reclaim the land. You could also propose alternative terms. I do not think that Verizon will entertain anything that relates to annual compensation at this point. However, you could say you would shorten the length of the term, whereas right now it's roughly 25 years potential. You could shorten that as you see fit. So those are your options. I'd be happy to stand for any questions. Thank you for considering this again. But this is the latest and greatest offer sheet from Verizon.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to consider the offer sheet from Verizon to extend the terms of an expiring ground lease.
So moved.
Motion by Councilwoman Brothers. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilwoman Borders. Discussion?
Your Honor,
Councilman Larson?
did you say 20 years?
25.
Your Honor, it's a potential of 25-year lease.
25 years at the same price?
There would,
3% increase.
go ahead, Mr. Butterfield.
Your Honor, thank you. It would allow for a 7.5% escalator at each 5-year interval.
7.5-year escalator, so,
That's
Or, I'm sorry,
1.5% a year.
yeah. And then I'm looking at Casper, 36,000 a year. Cody, 38,000 a year, that's not Verizon. Green River, 20 to 30,000 a year. I'm looking at Verizon stock, which is still, despite the dip that there has been, still the highest it's been in 4 years. And the fact that they previously said they could do 15,000, and now they supposedly can't.
Your Honor.
Councilwoman Johnson?
You know, cost and rates go up every year. I think locking into that kind of contract for that many years while their pockets get bigger and ours do not, sometimes you have to just stand firm and ask them politely to remove their things from our property. It's going to cost them a whole lot more to move that stuff than it would just be to pay the $15,000 a year, which is just a minimal ask, considering what everybody else is getting.
That's a thought. And I will say, now there is, so they have until the end of the month to be able to renew this. If we don't go back at least with an offer, then that's where it's at. So we'd have to go back with an offer that they could then accept from now until our next meeting.
I also just real quick want to tell Kyle thank you for the hard work you've put into this. I'm sure it's been a lot of conversation, so thank you.
And different people that have changed, and it's been a pain.
What about, instead of 25 years, 10 years, and $12,000, same escalators? Something of that nature, instead of 25 years. 25 years is a long time for communications.
Yeah.
Okay. That's your motion, was 10 years and 12,000 a year?
Yes.
We have a second for that motion?
What escalator are you?
7%.
I think we should do like that other one where it's like 3% a year, or you can do it to the AFR rate or something like that.
Keep up with inflation at least.
Yeah, at least keep
3%
up
a
with
year.
inflation.
So your motion is 10-year lease, $12,000 a year, 3% a year. That's your motion, Councilman Larson?
Yes, sir.
We have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bailey. Any other discussion on that motion?
So is that really an amendment or a motion?
It's an amendment.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes.
Kyle, what's the last offer that we tried to make to get them to agree to? Was that the 15,000?
Your Honor, Councilwoman, through this process, I have tried to have similar rates to the other Verizon tower lease. And so I've just communicated that we'd like to get the $20K a year. I understand that every tower is different. They're running a business. They can choose which sites are more valuable to them. And after the last council action, I went back to them and communicated the desire to have similar ground leases for both of the Verizon towers. But I also shared with them that it was my personal opinion that the council would consider their $15,000 offer that they had previously given. They said that they will not honor that. And so I have just tried to communicate somewhere in that range. I've also shared with them some of our market research as it relates to our peer communities, and then also the private property leases of at least having $1,000 a month. So how do I say this? This is public ground that the only reason they have a right to is if they have a lease from the governing body over that public ground. And I think we should do our very best to ensure that it's fair to the operator, but also fair to the public who have stewardship over that ground. And so it's been very fluid. So if you ask me what my firm offer has been, I've stayed on that higher end from the beginning.
I'm just curious why they won't honor the 15,000. What changed their mind?
Your Honor, Councilwoman, in brief, that was through an individual that's no longer with the company. The CEO has since changed hands. Verizon went through a significant layoff within the last year. So they have reprioritized a lot of their operations and this new leadership. And Verizon has said, well, you didn't take the 15 when we offered it, so we're not going to honor it now. Fair enough. But when they offered the 15, I was still shooting for 20. And I'll be fair just to say that that might be my fault, but at the same time, it was still less than what we were working on.
Thank you.
Well, and I think the 12,000's in the market. However, I don't have any problem with just continuing to say 20 and let them decide by the end of the month. Any other discussion?
Yeah, again, I think there's a lot of towers here that are all going for 12, so I mean, I think that's a more than reasonable offer. And I think if they're stuck on 10 and they won't go to 12, they can take their toys and go home.
Probably cost more than 10,000 to take the tower down. And here's the thing too, there's a significant benefit to them. They're making money from this. This is a for-profit entity that is making money from this. And they're using public property to do it. And sitting here and grousing about paying 20 for one, and I don't get it. But, any other discussion?
I'm actually a little offended that they rescinded the 15,000.
Yeah.
That just says, hey, we're going to play hardball, and we're the ones in charge. Well, you know what? It's our ground. I would say a diminished lease term for sure, and 12 minimum. I mean, that's relatively in line. But to be fair, we are also chasing after a more consistent per square foot lease with all the other leaseholders. I would prefer to just say, here's the number, 20. Take it or leave it. That's literally 0.07% of our budget. Who cares? I guarantee it's more important to them than it is us.
12,000 also is based off of private land, not public land. as you
Exactly.
No, but it-
indicated. So,
It really matters where, they want a site that has radius of contact to
Yeah.
them, but that site's very good. It's up on the hill. I wish in high school I'd have bought all that grand up there. That would have been awesome.
That would have been a smart, why didn't I do
Yeah,
that?
why weren't we
could have
thinking of
done it
that?
My wallet was so much better in high school than.
That's right.
All right, well, we could be here all day. But we have a motion, 10-year lease, 12,000 a year, 3%
And
in annual increase. Any other discussion on those terms? Okay, and then by counter offering, that is a rejection of their offer, so we want to be very clear. But they're not going to have another opportunity to have this come before the council. We're not, I don't envision us having a special meeting to try to meet terms with Verizon,
yeah.
unless y'all want to.
no.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
Nay.
I vote aye, motion passes. All right, non-operational retail liquor license requests, Si Se Puede LLC, Administrative Services Director's report, please. Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I am so sorry. This is just a procedural item. What passed was the amendment to the main motion.
Correct.
You'll need to do another motion to pass the
You're right.
amended main motion.
That was an amendment. So main motion, now we're on the main motion with the terms as had been indicated. So this is not an amendment to the motion. All in favor of passage of the main motion, which is the 10-year term, 12,000 annually, 3% a year. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
Nay.
I vote aye.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. That motion passes. All right, next item. Si Se Puede, LLC.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm sure many of you are aware that there was a single vehicle accident involving structural damage at the building located at 910 South Federal, requiring River City Rendezvous to temporarily close their business. The licensee is working with their insurance company, an adjuster, and a civil engineer to make the building safe and operational again. Because the business cannot operate during the repairs, the licensee, Mr. Rafael Delgadillo, is here in the audience this evening, has requested to keep the retail liquor license in a non-operational status. The license was approved for the 2025-2026 term in February. Under the statute, the licensee must be operational within 1 year of issuance, but the council may grant extension for good cause. I think this very well constitutes good cause. So with that, the staff and Mr. Delgadillo are requesting that we issue this license in a non-operational status until he has the opportunity to complete the appropriate construction repairs that he needs for his building.
Okay, thank you. I'd entertain a motion to approve the request from Si Se Puede LLC, doing business as River City Rendezvous, to approve their retail liquor license as non-operational up to 1 year until construction is complete.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Borders, second by Councilwoman Johnson. Discussion. Mr. Delgadillo, how are things going?
Hello. Just to let you know how, it's been 1 month we've been closed, and as a result, we are working with our insurance adjuster, a civil engineer, and our construction company. Whenever you have a claim like this, there's back and forth. I have great insurance, they have their point of view, I have mine, and we're trying to resolve these things as quickly as we can. But of course, this business is a business that brings in revenue, which we don't have now currently. And currently, it takes my time, my energy, and my treasure to have it work. But we're going to do it as quickly as we can, because when you do have a repair or something like this, they give you a window when it has to be accomplished. So regardless what happens in the future, we know we're going to get it done within a certain amount of time. I just can't tell you exactly how. Probably 3 to 4 months, maybe, could be longer. I certainly hope not.
And how are things going with your other venture on Main Street? Are you kind of focusing more there?
Well, what happens is that the same contractor I have there is working on this one here. And the problem is that it takes the focus in off of one to over here. And the other thing is that bringing all those parties together, the general contractor and everyone, and having to finish this project first is going to take some real effort if we can get it done so it doesn't affect the other. But I just don't know how that'll turn out yet. We'll see.
Well, I appreciate you coming in, appreciate what you do, and yeah, thanks for the report.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. I vote aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Delgadillo. All right, public hearing and consideration, retail liquor license transfer of ownership and location from 381 Subs and Salads LLC to Honey Cellar LLC. Ms. Harris.
Thank you. Mayor and council, this item is a request to transfer ownership and location of retail liquor license number 105 from 381 Subs and Salads to Honey Cellar LLC, doing business as Honeyfly Company. If approved tonight, the transferred license would take effect on April 1st, 2026. This is because the council has already approved 381 Subs and Salads through March 31st through the current liquor licensing term. The license is currently in a non-operational status, and on February 27th, the staff received an application from Honey Cellar to transfer both ownership and the business location from 702 East Main to 708 East Main. As part of the license, the application, the license is requesting that it remain operational while they secure their location and complete construction. And the representatives from Honeyfly are not here this evening, but they have communicated to us that they plan to be open in June of this year. So it will be somewhat brief. So with that, approval tonight would authorize the transfer of the location and ownership and allow them to stay non-operational. And all of this is contingent upon final certification from the Wyoming Liquor Division. And with that, I would stand for any questions.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Larson with the motion, Councilwoman Borders with the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. I vote aye. Motion passes. Declare the public hearing open. Hearing will be conducted in accordance with state statutes and other applicable laws. I'd ask those wishing to address the council on this item to approach the podium. Identify yourself for the record. Anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on this item?
Seeing none, Your Honor, I move to close.
Second.
Councilman Larson with the motion to close the public hearing. Councilman Bailey with the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. I vote aye. Motion passes. Declare the public hearing closed. I'd entertain a motion to approve the transfer of ownership and location of retail liquor license number 105 from 381 Subs and Salads LLC, doing business as 381 Subs and Salads, to Honey Cellar LLC, doing business as Honeyfly Company for the remainder of the 2026 through 2027 liquor licensing term, and authorize issuance of a license in non-operational status for 1 year contingent upon final certification by the Wyoming Liquor Division.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Carr. You need to tell me that motion in full if you could.
Oh, let me get to my PDF.
Councilman Carr with the motion, Councilwoman Brothers with the second. Any other discussion on that?
Your Honor, can we get clarification on Wyoming State Statute 12104? It does say that we cannot approve any transfer or licensing until the Liquor Division has certified the application as complete. And whereas we have not got that yet, and it's contingent upon, I don't know that we're doing that correctly, so I'm just looking for clarification.
Sure. You need a minute to look that up and Everything, Ms. Harris, feel free.
Yes, please, if you don't mind. I know there is a clause in there that the Liquor Division does cite that if they haven't responded within a certain period of time, that it is considered complete. But let me get that language for you, please. So 12-4-104, let me get the exact citation here. 12-4-104, section,
Section D, if that helps, Mia.
does, but if you think there's, did you find it? Okay, here it is. Section 4, and then there's a subsection D that states that all applications shall be deemed to be certified unless objection is made by the division within 10 working days of receipt of the application. So we received the application on February 27th, I believe. And they did notify me today that they've received the application. They're aware that public hearing was tonight. We would still need to continue to work with them if there were any conditions that would not deem their issuance of the license, but it's perfectly acceptable for the council to approve their part of it at this point during public hearing this evening.
So then, I guess just to clarify, so application was received February 27th, you said?
Yes, let me double check, please. Sorry, I have a lot of windows open at one time here.
But that's for local
This
licensing,
isn't
right?
notes there.
Oh, thank you. I'm looking at the statute, so.
Yeah.
So February 27th was the date that they would have received it. So it says, "No licensing authority shall approve or deny an application until the division has certified the application is complete." So you're saying, considering that the application was made more than 10 working days ago, then by virtue of them not saying that there's an objection within 10 working days, that's the equivalent of certification the application is complete?
Correct.
Okay, got it. Anything else on that, Councilwoman Johnson?
No.
Good question. Any other questions, comments? Okay.
My only question was answered with the next item in front of us, so,
Yes, that was the same when I read it.
yeah.
All in favor of the motion regarding the transfer of ownership, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. I vote aye, motion passes. Public hearing and consideration of winery permit, Honey Cellar LLC. Ms. Harris.
So, Your Honor, this is very similar to the same scenario that I just presented in the prior report, only the applicant, the same applicant is applying for a winery license as well. While they have a retail liquor license, the retail liquor license does not allow them the ability to manufacture wine. And they intend to manufacture and sell mead at that location, and mead falls under a Wyoming winery permit per statute. And so the same scenario would apply. This is a new license. They are requesting that it also remain non-operational until they get their business up and going in June. They're working on final construction for their building. And so all the proper fees have been paid, and this was also submitted the same exact day that the transfer of ownership and location for the prior license was. So I would stand for any other questions you would have.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Carr, motion. Councilwoman Borders, second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. I vote aye. Motion passes. I declare the public hearing open. Hearing will be conducted in accordance with state statute and other applicable laws. I'd ask those individuals wishing to address the council to identify themselves as they approach the podium. Is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak?
Your Honors, seeing none, I move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Borders, second by Councilman Bailey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. I vote aye. Motion passes. Declare the public hearing closed. I'd entertain a motion to approve the new winery permit application for Honeyfly Cellar LLC, doing business as Honeyfly Company for the remainder of the 2026-2027 liquor licensing term. Authorize the issuance of the winery permit in a non-operational status for 1 year, contingent upon final certification by the Wyoming Liquor Division.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Carr, motion. Councilwoman Brothers, second. Discussion? Is there the same statutory language for this with the certification and everything? So we're beyond the 10 working days? Okay.
Oh, good.
I appreciate that, by the way, Councilwoman Johnson.
That's a good question.
We want to make sure we get through it, do it right.
I definitely want to see them get it. And I was okay with a special hearing. I just want to make sure we were doing it correctly.
I hear you. All right, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. I vote aye. Motion passes. That's all I have on my agenda. I'd entertain a motion to recess. No, I'm just kidding. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilwoman Borders. Any discussion?
You really mean it this time?
I really mean
We're
it.
doing a thing.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. We are adjourned at 8:55 PM.